All right. Hello and welcome to our webinar for the Starbucks College Achievement Plan. I'm your host, Ben Kaufman. I am a program manager at Arizona State University, and I'm honored to have with me today my co-host, Katie Yonts, from the ASU Online Coaching Center. I want to give a big thank you to Katie. She'll be leading us through the second half of the presentation, the important stuff, the ins and outs of the enrollment process. And to all the future scholars who are joining the webinar today, thank you so much for being here. The presentation that we're about to go through was designed for you, Starbucks partners who are interested in learning more about the College Achievement Plan and also maybe new to the world of ASU Online or even new to the idea of taking classes online. In the chat room, in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, you can communicate with members from our enrollment team who are ready to help answer any questions you might have or any questions that come up during the presentation. So please feel free to use that Q&A box to chat with our dedicated team of experts. And I also want to point out the visual on the right-hand side of this slide. This is the starbucks.asu.edu website, which has two buttons in the top corner, Get Info and Apply Now. So when you're ready, or if you're ready today, that will be your starting point. That will be your very first step. And this is our agenda for today. We're going to talk through the history of the ASU and the Starbucks partnership, the advantages of ASU Online, the financial aid process, really everything we're going to discuss today to help you get a solid understanding of how to earn your degree. Our goal by the end of this is for you to have all of the information you need to feel comfortable moving through the enrollment process, because you've worked really hard to earn this benefit, and we want you to be able to take advantage of it. The Starbucks mission statements and the ASU charter really drive everything that we do together. Our partnership is founded on a shared commitment to access, excellence, and responsible social impact. It's a collaboration that showcases the life-changing outcomes that are possible when two innovative and socially engaged institutions come together to make a difference. Our principles give us the power to uplift the communities we serve and to forge a better future through education. ASU has worked with Starbucks partners since 2014, helping them in their journey towards earning an undergraduate degree. The Starbucks College Achievement Plan, also referred to as SCAP, creates an opportunity for all eligible U.S. Starbucks partners to earn their first bachelor's degree through ASU Online, with a choice of more than 140 undergraduate degree programs and 100% upfront tuition coverage. More than 85% of Starbucks stores have a participating partner in the College Achievement Plan. And to date, we've had more than 10,000 partners graduate from the SCAP program, an amazing accomplishment for so many of your fellow partners. And there are many, many benefits associated with a university degree. Professionally, a college education opens up doors that aren't always available to those without a degree. Research shows that college graduates earn more money in their lifetimes and have a higher work satisfaction compared to those with a high school diploma. And a college degree challenges your thinking. It prepares you both intellectually and socially for the next steps in your life. We here at ASU, we know that there is no bigger sense of accomplishment or a greater feeling than setting a big goal and achieving it. And that's why we're here to help you make that happen. These are the top 5 degrees that Starbucks partners are enrolled in. Of course, you should choose a program that best aligns with your career goals. You can see our highly ranked business and information technology degrees are popular, with psychology being a top pick among partners. ASU launches new degree programs regularly, and we just launched an exciting new program in computer science. It's a high demand degree among employers, and it's designed to train scholars with important skills in that field. ASU and Starbucks have also worked together to develop individual courses within some of our programs: organizational leadership, supply chain management, and most recently a software engineering course called Innovation in Corporate Technology, which has been very popular. Sometimes it can be hard. We know it's hard to get started because you might not know what program you want to study or which program is the right one for you. And if you're feeling unsure, we've created a really helpful tool called Me3, which is something that many Starbucks partners have found useful when starting their education. So this might be useful for you too. It's a simple interactive tool that matches your interests and goals with career options and recommended degree programs. And the site, if you want to check it out, is yourfuture.asu.edu/me3. So how does it work? Your tuition cup, to use the metaphor in this visual, is filled from 3 locations: the College Achievement Plan Scholarship, which is applied by ASU, the FAFSA, which gives you any need-based federal aid grants or scholarships, and the Starbucks tuition benefit, which covers the remaining tuition after your CAP scholarship and federal aid is applied. On the left-hand side, it's also important to point out that books and supplies are not covered through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan, but some partners have found that their financial aid can assist with those costs too. So we encourage you to speak with a financial aid office to have a conversation about ensuring that you are practicing responsible borrowing when and if that time comes. The enrollment team does get a lot of questions about the FAFSA. It stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And yes, it is a requirement of the program. You must complete the FAFSA. And here's some fun facts about ASU that you might not know. Arizona State University is the largest university in the country, with over 100,000 students attending courses in person and online. And ASU, as you can see, has received a lot of national recognition. A lot of these rankings are very impressive, but they really wouldn't be possible without our remarkable faculty and staff, our engaged leadership, and our passionate student body. So if you've been feeling like it's been a challenge up until now to get motivated, your fellow partners have found that through the support of the ASU Online team, it is manageable to be on your way to earning a degree. Why? Because each semester is broken into 2 7.5-week sessions, and you have the option of enrolling part-time, which would be 1 class, or full-time, which is 2. The courses are asynchronous mostly, meaning that you can access coursework and communicate with instructors and classmates from anywhere at any time. And truly, your classmates could be located anywhere. ASU Online has students from across the country and around the world, which gives you a unique opportunity for virtual teamwork and networking. You have your choice of more than 140 undergraduate degree programs, and you get the same world-class faculty members and the same quality education as an in-person campus student, but with the flexibility of an online program. And we offer world-class support. Your first point of contact is your enrollment coach, who will help you find the right program and guide you through the application and enrollment process. Then your academic advisor will assist you with course scheduling, review requirements for your program, and go over any transfer credits you might have. Then you get your success coach once you get enrolled to be there to guide you all the way through to graduation by helping you with goal setting, time management, and connecting you with resources that you might need to succeed. And throughout the whole process, our financial aid office is here to provide you with the financial aid guidance whenever you need it. One other thing through the SCAP program, which a lot of scholars have found helpful, you will have a dedicated person from the Career Services Office to serve you, someone who can assist you with resume preparation, career discussions, internships, interviewing, you name it. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Katie. Take it away, Katie.
All right. So how do you know if you're eligible for the Starbucks College Achievement Plan? Well, first, be hired with a Starbucks store in the United States. Next, you must become benefits eligible. Partners become benefits eligible on the first day of the second month after receiving at least 240 hours over 3 consecutive full calendar months. Starbucks also recently removed the U.S. citizenship requirement, allowing additional partners to earn their degree. If you have questions about being benefits eligible, you can always go to the starbucks.asu.edu website and click Get Info to reach out to us for assistance. Lastly, in order to be eligible for the Starbucks College Achievement Plan, you must complete the FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And here we have the Veteran Partner Benefit. To show gratitude to veteran partners for their service, Starbucks has extended an additional Starbucks College Achievement Plan benefit to a qualifying family member of their choice. The participating family member receives 100% tuition coverage and all the same benefits of the program. So how do you get started? We recommend partners start their journey here. This ensures that by the time you become benefits eligible, you are on the path to getting your degree from Arizona State University. In order to do this, you will submit a request for information through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan webpage located at starbucks.asu.edu. When you arrive at this page, you can click on the Get Info button at the top right-hand corner of the page. By doing so, you will have an ASU Online Enrollment Coach reach out to learn more about you, review our amazing programs, and assist you through the application, admission, and enrollment process. From the same website, you can also initiate your application to ASU. This will let us know that you are applying as a Starbucks partner and ensure that your application fee is waived. Once you submit the request for information, you will hear from an ASU enrollment coach who specializes in the Starbucks College Achievement Plan. Your enrollment coach is your first point of contact who will assist you with your questions and steps throughout your enrollment process. They will help you select a program of study, review the admissions requirements for that specific program, and help you set an action plan to get your application into review. This includes assisting you with what documents will be needed to complete your application, making sure you've completed all the necessary steps to receive your benefit, and connecting you with other departments and resources as needed. Here you can see the 4 main steps of the application process. Your enrollment coach will guide you step by step to complete your application to ASU Online. Step 1 is to submit an application for admission. Your application can be filled out and submitted online. The focus of your application is your contact information and education history. So you'll be asked to include where you went to high school, how much, if any, college you've completed, and each institution that you've attended. You will also be asked to choose your major. As an eligible SCAP partner, you do not need to pay the application fee. As long as you submit the correct application specifically for Starbucks partners, your application fee will be automatically waived. Once your application is submitted, you will order your official transcripts from each institution that you've attended, and we'll go over this in a little bit more detail. After applying, ASU will create an account for you. You will receive an email with instructions on how to activate and access your account. Here you will be able to monitor the progress of your application on your personal My ASU page. And finally, you will submit a FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, which is required of all SCAP partners. Once you've submitted your application, you'll receive an email with instructions on how to log into your ASU account within about 24 hours. The email will include a username, which is known as your ASU Right ID, and the steps to activate your account by selecting a password. This will give you access to your student page called My ASU, which you can see here. My ASU is where you can monitor the status of your application and any missing items that are required for your application to be complete. Once we've received your official transcripts, you'll see the application status change to review while you await an admissions decision. My ASU is also the first place you'll see your admissions decision, find contact details for your academic advisor, and where you will access your classes after you've enrolled. Once your application is submitted, your next step will be to order your transcripts. Your official transcripts are certified copies from each high school, college, or university you've attended that shows the coursework that you took, grades you earned, and certificates or degrees that you were awarded. ASU requires you to send transcripts from every institution you've attended. There are different ways to have your official transcripts sent to ASU. It's recommended that you request your transcripts with an online secured transcript service when available. You can find a list of verified sources on our website or ask your enrollment coach. Many colleges, universities, and even high schools have this capability. You can often find this information by searching your school's website. Please note that transcripts must be sent from school to school. You cannot send your own transcripts. There are exceptions to this for international transcripts, which we'll discuss next. For additional questions about best practices when sending transcripts or help, should you require transcripts from schools attended outside of the U.S., we highly encourage you to contact your enrollment coach who will provide assistance. ASU also accepts high school equivalency diplomas such as the GED and HiSET. If you have questions about what scores are required for your program, you can refer to your enrollment coach for further assistance. However, if you obtained a California high school proficiency examination, a task, or any other high school equivalency diplomas, those will only satisfy the high school graduation requirement. In this case, make sure you submit the diploma along with any other transcript showing college or high school work you may have completed, along with your SAT or ACT test score if you've taken those exams. Submitting your FAFSA is the first step in the financial aid process. Once your FAFSA shares over to ASU, you may be asked for additional information to complete your financial aid file. You will find these tasks on your My ASU page under your priority tasks and in the finance section of your account. Please note that if you are in default on your federal student loans, you will not be able to complete your financial aid file until you resolve your default status. If you have questions about how to do that or how to complete these forms, we have financial aid advisors ready to help. To be FAFSA eligible, you need to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. The most common type of eligible non-citizen would be a permanent resident or green card holder. You can see some other examples on the slide here or by visiting studentaid.gov. If you are a DACA recipient, you can speak with an ASU financial aid representative for further information. If you have any questions about whether or not you can file a FAFSA, please contact our financial aid office. All right, once you have been admitted, there are a few to-do items before you start class. The first thing you will do is set up an appointment with your academic advisor to review your degree plan and discuss which courses to register for and review any applicable transfer credits. You will also participate in an online orientation that will set you up for success. Always be sure you've completed all of your priority tasks. Priority tasks are basically a to-do list to keep you on track. You'll want to be in the habit of checking them regularly. We understand that there may be questions about these, so as mentioned before, please reach out to our enrollment team for assistance. And a big question that I know a lot of partners ask is what happens if you don't get admitted? Well, we don't want you to worry, we've got you covered. There's a pathway for all learners to earn their degree at ASU. If you don't meet ASU Online's general admissions requirements, you can still earn your way into ASU through the Pathway to Admission program. In Pathway to Admission, you will take ASU classes online for credit. If you successfully complete your required number of courses with a 2.75 GPA or higher, you'll become eligible for admission to ASU. The credits you completed in Pathway to Admission will go towards your degree, plus the Pathway to Admission course conversion fee is covered for Starbucks partners. I want to leave you with some more resources to help you get started. So I strongly recommend going to the starbucks.asu.edu website, which has great information on the program and will allow you to submit your request for information if you haven't already done so. And we really want to thank you so much for your time today and for your hard work in reaching this point. Our enrollment team is excited to connect with you and get you started on your path towards becoming an ASU graduate. Now let's begin our Q&A period. Feel free to submit any questions you have in our Q&A box, and I'll do my best to answer them. If I don't address your question, someone from our enrollment team will respond.
Great, Katie. Thank you so much for going through all those details. I'm just pulling up the Q&A information from the box here that we have. Just a handful so far. A couple are currently open. First question comes as, can I receive a free tuition through ASU Online while completing a bachelor's degree at a local college at the same time?
Because FAFSA is a requirement of utilizing your Starbucks College Achievement Plan, if you are utilizing financial aid at another institution, you wouldn't be able to also utilize that at ASU. And SCAP will only cover your first bachelor's degree. So that is an important factor. There's a couple of nuances within that. And I would definitely recommend reaching out to our enrollment team so that we can discuss your specific situation in more detail with you.
Great, Katie, thank you so much. Next one, similar FAFSA related. Where can I find out if my FAFSA is complete on my ASU, and do I have to contact my coach?
I think it's always a great idea to contact your coach. We want to help you and we want to help point you in the right direction and help you navigate your My ASU. But you can always find that information on the Finances tab in your My ASU page, and you can tab through the different aid years to see if your FAFSA has been received by ASU and where exactly it is in processing.
Okay, great. Thank you. Here's another good one. If I attended some college, is it still required to submit a high school transcript along with the one from college?
Great question. It's really going to be dependent. It can be program dependent, it can be age dependent, and it can be credit dependent. So ultimately, it depends on how many transfer credits you'd be bringing in or how many transferable college credits you'd be bringing in. Whether or not you're over a certain age and which program you're applying for. So good idea to speak with an enrollment coach and really have a thorough conversation about your goals so that we can help prepare you for which documents you'll need to request.
Okay, makes sense. Here's an interesting one about a name change. So does a transcript being sent, how does the transcript to ASU work if you've had your name change and they might not match since the time when you were in high school?
Yeah, that also is a really common question. In the application, when you apply to ASU, there's going to be a section where you can include previous names. And if it's included on the application and matches the transcript, there should not be any issue with getting that matched up to your application.
Great. Okay. Good to know. The next one I think might be for me. Can you repeat the benefits eligibility information? Absolutely. You must work at least 20 hours a week consistently. In order to become eligible, you must work 20 hours a week for 3 full months before you will become eligible. Once you are already eligible, you just have to keep working at least 20 hours a week in order to stay eligible. It's a great question, though. Let's see. When is the deadline for the fall semester?
ASU Online is great in that we have rolling starts. So there are not hard deadlines to have your application and documentation in. However, we are all about getting you well prepared to start when you want to get started. So the recommendation is to get everything in as soon as possible. If you're looking to start in the fall, start today. Get your application in, speak with an enrollment coach, request your transcripts. The process can take a little bit of time. Once we receive your transcripts and get you an admissions decision and meeting with academic advising, there's definitely some steps within that process. So the sooner you get it in, the more well prepared you are to start.
Right. Thank you. The next question is about the nursing program. Is the nursing program 100% online?
Great question. So ASU Online offers an RN to BSN program. The RN to BSN program is going to require that you have an associate's degree in nursing and an RN license in order to be eligible or admissible into that program. So it is not a licensure program. Therefore, we do offer the RN to BSN fully online.
Great. Okay, sounds good. Next one is a kind of more technical FAFSA question. If you have met the cap for undergraduate borrowing, do you still need to file a FAFSA, or are you still allowed to file one?
You can definitely still file a FAFSA, and you definitely will still need to file a FAFSA in order to take advantage of the College Achievement Plan. You are not as a partner. We don't require you as a partner to necessarily be eligible for student loans, but we do require you to be eligible to file a FAFSA unless there's special circumstances that prevent that. And that's when we would have you talk with our financial aid office or an enrollment coach so that we could talk through your specific situation.
All right, great, Katie, thank you. Here's what's more of a specific one about a specific program. What kind of graphic design programs are offered at ASU?
We offer a graphic design program. So there is one specific to graphic design. We also offer graphic information technology, which there are some nuances between those two programs. And I think that a great place to start would be with your enrollment coach so they can really learn more about you, learn more about your career goals, learn more about your interests, and recommend a good program that's going to be best program fit for you.
Excellent. Okay, let me look through here. The next question is kind of more about the international, maybe language barrier question. If their university sent a transcript in the Polish language, what is the next step to enroll? Is there a different process they need to go through?
With any transcripts that are coming from an institution outside of the US, we require that students send the original transcript in its original language and an official translation. So that would be the biggest difference on those transcripts. You do not need to have them evaluated. We just need to have the original in the original language and the official translation sent to ASU, and then our admissions team will take it from there.
Perfect. Okay. Another FAFSA kind of technical question. For the FAFSA, there are loans. If there are loans that I have the option to accept or decline, if I were to decline the loans, will my classes still be covered?
They will. You are not required to take out student loans in order to take advantage of this benefit.
Great. Thank you, Katie. Okay, let's see here. Is there a requirement for how many hours I need to work at Starbucks to be eligible with the SCAP program? Yes, you'll need to work 20 hours a week. That's a great question. What is the best way to contact your enrollment coach?
There's a couple of ways that you can contact your enrollment coach. If you've already put in a request for information or already sent in an application, you can always call into the enrollment team at the number you see on your screen. It should route you to your assigned enrollment coach. If you have not yet been assigned an enrollment coach, you'll call the same number and it's going to route you to the next available Starbucks enrollment coach.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you. How long does it typically take for students to earn their degrees, kind of start to finish?
Great question. And I think this can be situational. But what I can tell you is that ASU is going to require at minimum 120 credit hours in order to earn your bachelor's degree. If you're attending full-time, including 6 credits in the summer, it's still approximately a 4-year degree online.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. Okay, now back to the high school transcripts question. So in this scenario, if I attended multiple high schools, do I need to submit the high school transcripts from everywhere I attended or just the one I graduated from?
That's going to depend on the program. Usually, we would just have you request the one that you graduated from, as long as it shows all of the courses taken, where the courses were taken, and the grades that were received, but it can depend. So I think it's always a safe bet to put in a request from each of those institutions. And now this is high school specifically. If we're talking college, even if you transferred college credits from one institution to another, ASU requires you send in an official transcript from each college or university that you've attended.
Great, thank you. Okay, here's a question about hours. What happens, if you fall behind on hours at Starbucks?
I think that's a great question. I know Ben has mentioned a couple of times working at least 20 hours a week, but Starbucks' audit happens on a totality basis. So they're going to audit you twice a year. If you've already met the initial eligibility, you're going to be audited twice a year, every 6 months, and they're looking for a total of 520 paid hours over those 6 months. So if you fall short a couple weeks on hours, you can make them up during that audit period. And that's always a good time to kind of monitor and reach out to the partner contact center if you have concerns about hours or where you're falling within your audit hours.
Great. Okay. The next one, I think I touched on this one. How long are classes, or does it vary? So I did talk about the fall and spring semesters having sessions that are 7.5 weeks long, but I didn't cover the summer session, which also has classes. They're a little bit shorter, but they're at the 6-week window. So summertime a little bit shorter at 6 weeks, fall and spring 7.5. Here's a question I think about pathway to admission, and I can pull up that slide again if it's helpful. Could we go over the information again about what to do if we aren't approved for, if a scholar isn't approved for admission at first? So I think maybe this is a good slide to, if you want to kind of just talk back through that, Katie, the pathway to admission process, how that works if they don't get admitted straight into ASU.
Sure. We have an incredible pathway to admission team. So once an admissions decision has rolled out for you as the student, if you are deemed not admissible at that time, your file will automatically be reassigned to one of our amazing pathway to admission coaches who will reach out to you to walk you through exactly what to do next with pathway to admission. Your specific pathway is going to be age dependent, so of course going to be situational again, but you would be required to complete the number of credit hours required of your specific pathway with a 2.75 GPA or higher in order to then be admissible into a general admissions program with ASU. I hope that answers your question, but it is helpful to know that we will reach out to you if that decision is made that you will be offered the pathway to admission.
No, I think definitely. I mean, when you're not exactly sure what the next step is, it's super helpful to know that you guys that will be contacting you. Thanks, Katie. All right, here's a specific question about one of the programs we mentioned, one of the newer programs. It's the computer science program. And the question is, what are the requirements to get into the computer science program?
That is a great question. And those program requirements or admissions requirements for that program are going to be elevated. So a little bit higher than our general admissions. I think this would be one of those times that it would be really a great idea to reach out to the enrollment team so that we can talk through those admissions requirements with you, and also talk about what it would look like if we don't yet meet those admissions requirements, what options might be available to you if that is your primary first choice program. So I'm going to defer to the enrollment team and your enrollment coach. If you don't have one yet, give that number on your screen a call so that we can connect with you. We'd love to have that conversation and talk about that program. It's a great program, but we also want to dive into your specific situation and what those admissions requirements look like for you.
Yeah, and that was one of the programs that we did. We worked closely with some of the Starbucks leadership team as well. So definitely a good call out there. All right, another kind of FAFSA technical question. Is there a specific number to call for navigating FAFSA with special circumstances? And I actually see it here. It looks like the direct number for the financial aid office is 480-965-3200. If you need some additional assistance getting through the FAFSA. Oh, here's a great question. So if I go through the enrollment process now, would I be able to begin classes in the winter of 2024 instead of the fall of 2023?
Great question. So our applications open up just about a year in advance. So our fall 2024 application, I believe, will open up here in the next 6-ish, 8-ish weeks. So it's not quite open yet for fall 2024. But we have options available for you for fall 2023, spring 2024, and summer 2024. Those applications are open.
That's great. Okay, thank you. So I've actually seen this twice, and I'm sorry I missed it earlier. Will this presentation, will the recording be accessible to us once the meeting is over? Yes, you will receive an email tomorrow with a link to the recording. So great question. Sorry I missed that earlier. Here's one that I think we get sometimes. So if you get an illness or fall behind one quarter, can you get back on track? How hard is it to get back on track next quarter and have the benefits kind of pick back up?
I think that's an excellent question and a good reminder to really talk through the resources that we have for you as a student at ASU. You'll be connected with an academic advisor. You'll also be connected with a success coach, both of who can kind of walk through that with you and give you an idea of what sort of impact that may have on your journey with ASU, and then really what it's going to look like to get back on track. But those are going to be two very, very handy resources. Numbers you will likely store in your phone for communication beyond the enrollment process. So definitely resources available to you in the event that something like that may come up. You'll know exactly who to reach out to talk through that.
Great. Okay, thanks. Okay, let's see here's a question about paying anything back. Do I have to pay anything back? I had heard, a rumor that they will withhold checks in the spring. It's a good question. What do you say to that, Katie?
I think it's a great question. It's a fair question. You're not required to pay anything back to Starbucks for the benefit that you're receiving. There is a possibility of taxation, which you can find some additional information on in the frequently asked questions on the starbucks.asu.edu webpage. And I would highly recommend looking through the frequently asked questions in there so that you can read up a bit on it. But as far as paying back any part of the benefit to Starbucks, you will not have to.
Yeah, and they have recently made some, you may have heard that from a few years ago, and they've made some adjustments in terms of how things are processed throughout the course of the year. So that's really not impacting people in the same way that it was, I would say, December of 2021, maybe. I think that they made the change within the last year. Here's a question about the FAFSA, just the process. It seems like maybe the offers and the loan offers are coming up and what to do. So how does someone decline the offers? And it seems like they're kind of stuck in the application process and they're not sure exactly what they need to do to decline the loans.
Usually you can take action right from your My ASU in that Finances tab. If you're running into any issues or error messages that are being received while trying to do so, I would definitely recommend reaching out to our financial aid team to see if they can help you troubleshoot. But it's typically something you would take care of right within that Finances tab on your My ASU.
Okay, great. And what if you want to speed the process along a little bit, and do they have the option to take more classes than that full-time kind of schedule that we talked about?
There are some limitations, but yes, you can take additional credits, but there is a maximum number of credits that you can take within a semester at ASU. So will it help you speed up your program? A touch. There is that option. There are also a few programs, a handful of programs that offer a fast track option, and that's something that you can always talk with your academic advisor about when you make it to that point in the process. It's not available for every program, but there are a handful of programs where that is an option.
Perfect. Okay. Here's one that I know we've seen from time to time, maybe like in a virtual open house too. And that's if I previously applied last year and I created an ASU ID, but now, I don't know, it seems like if there's a disconnect, I can't get back in. Do I need to go through the application process all over again? I mean, what's the recommended step here?
Yeah, you guys might get sick of hearing me say it's situational, but this one too may be a touch situational. we can certainly have you connect with one of our enrollment coaches to look at your situation specifically. But it will ultimately depend on whether or not your application has expired. And if your application has expired, then we do have you reapply to ASU. And if you have applied with ASU before and taken courses with ASU before and now have decided to return, there's a time frame in which you can do that without needing to reapply, but we'd need to look at your file, your account, and really be able to dig in with you. So another one where I would tell you absolutely reach out to your enrollment coach so that they can help you out and take a look at your account and get that answered for you.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's as easy as just kind of connecting things back, tying things back together. But yeah, a phone call, definitely a good idea there. Here's a great question. I've talked to some recent graduates who've done this. If I move to a new city or state, but I'm still working at Starbucks while attending ASU, would that affect my eligibility?
As long as you are maintaining your benefits eligibility requirements, as long as you're maintaining hours within your audit, you can still utilize the benefit. It is important, though, that you are working in an actual Starbucks location, as some of the licensed stores may not qualify for the benefit, but that's going to be pretty specific. So another one you'd reach out to your enrollment coach on if you were to move states and switch from a standalone Starbucks. But as long as you're maintaining hours, you will absolutely be able to continue with ASU and you're utilizing your benefit.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to meet a partner who had moved from a store in California to a store here in Tempe, Arizona, and still attending online classes, of course, but just wanted to be a part of, going to maybe the basketball games or the football games or doing some of the different events. So yeah, that's definitely an option. Here's a question that I don't know the answer to either. It's related to the coffee break option that Starbucks offers to folks. So if you take a Starbucks career coffee break, are they still eligible to enroll in SCAP? Katie, do you know that one, or is that just a contact your partner contact center kind of question?
I would default to the partner contact center on that question, because that is going to be very Starbucks policy specific.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like the number there for that is 888-728-9411. Okay, here's a great question. If I was homeschooled, all of my education, so I don't have transcripts, what is kind of the first step in the process for someone in that situation?
Great question. So you can absolutely work with your enrollment coach, because depending on the homeschool and the type of homeschool that you were enrolled with, based on accreditation and things of that nature, is really going to determine what exactly you need to send in documentation wise. Kind of standard, typical for homeschool. There would still be an official transcript that you would need to send in, and then it's usually accompanied by an affidavit of homeschool completion, and then a lab science review, course evaluation, which your enrollment coach can cover with you in more depth. But that, I think, is a great question. We certainly do have homeschool students inquire and get enrolled with ASU.
Great. Okay. Here's a question about credit transfer, but from ASU. So can ASU credits be transferred if for some reason down the road they decide to change schools?
Always up to the receiving institution on what they're going to accept for transfer credits, but ASU is regionally accredited. So the credits you take with ASU are absolutely transferable, but again, up to the institution in which you'd be transferring to on whether or not they would accept our credits.
Right. Oh, okay. Here's another FAFSA question, but I think it's relevant, so I'll ask it. Do I have to enter a FAFSA form for 2022 to 2023 as well as 23 and 24?
Super relevant. So it depends on when you're going to get started. If you're planning to start in the Summer B 2023 session that we have coming up here in 15 days, you absolutely need the 22-23 FAFSA if you're planning to enroll for the fall 23-24.
Great. Okay, I think we've pretty much covered all of the questions that have come in. I'll give us a little bit of time here to just make sure I didn't miss anything. I tried to not do too many repeats.
I did see a couple of questions too that may have come in before our webinar. So
Oh,
maybe just a couple to cover. Somebody asked what happens after we use up credits for a bachelor's degree.
all right.
So your college achievement plan will cover your first bachelor's degree. The credit limitation is 135 credits that are usable for this benefit. So you have to stay within that limitation, but if you're, of course, transferring credits in, you might have some room to play with a double major or maybe even adding on a minor. So certainly a great question and a great conversation to be had with both your enrollment coach and your academic advisor if that's something that you may want to look at when you get started with ASU. I saw another question. How do our STEM degrees work for online students? We offer quite a few STEM degrees with ASU Online. A good majority of those are going to have lab science coursework that you will complete. Some of those labs will be virtual. Some of those labs you'll be sent lab kits for and you'll receive in the mail. And then there are some courses that would require some travel to Tempe, our main campus, to do an in-person lab over the summer for 1 week. Think of it like science camp. So absolutely lab sciences and some different modalities that you'd be completing the lab science work within those STEM degrees. I think we answered most of them. I saw one additional one about studying abroad as an SCAP scholar. I know I mentioned the frequently asked questions on the starbucks.asu.edu webpage. There is a frequently asked question within there that talks about the study abroad options for scholars. And we'll even provide you a link to where you can read up more about your options. So great to visit that website. I know Ben said that was the great place to start your journey. It truly is. There's a ton of information on there, a ton of great links, and even really that apply now and request for information button that are included on that website. So you can read up more about study abroad options. There are opportunities there. But I think we've covered all of the questions now that came in prior to the webinar starting and the ones within the webinar, but we can hang out for a little while and wait to see if any additional questions come in.
I did just see one come in just in the last minute or so. Are we able to do part-time or do we have to do full-time schooling? So yeah, I know totally up to them, but go ahead, Katie. What do you say?
Both are options. It's really going to be a personal preference and truthfully what you have the time commitment for. Our online courses, we typically tell students to prepare for 18 to 20 hours a week per course. So depending on what your life outside of Starbucks, your life within Starbucks looks like, determining how much time you have to commit to being successful in school will determine for you whether or not you decide to go full-time or part-time.
And there was one other one. It was really more about the concerns about making sure that they want to make sure they get the 20 hours and how that process works. What do you recommend to someone who is, kind of concerned that they might not be able to consistently meet that 20-hour threshold? Any kind of like best practices that we would recommend in terms of working with your store manager, that sort of thing?
Yeah, be open and honest with your store manager that this is a benefit you want to take advantage of, so that they're aware of your intention. We even have in the application a task that gives you the indicator that you should have that conversation with your manager, so that they know that you're wanting to go back to school and utilize this benefit so that you two can work together to try to ensure that you're meeting the hours required for this benefit and strategize on ways to help you do that.
Great. I mean, and they keep rolling in here, so we'll just keep going. What about an option for a minor? For any of the online degrees, do they have the option to pursue a minor as well?
Yeah, that 135-hour credit hour cap that I mentioned earlier, and then mentioning that our bachelor's degrees are 120 credit hours. There is a 15 credit hour uh, buffer, so to speak. So there certainly could be some room there for you to add on a minor. If you go over the 135-hour credit cap, it's important to note that you're going to be paying out of pocket for anything that you go over that cap on. So a minor is certainly an option, and there are a lot of great ones to choose from.
Right. All right. Thank you, Katie. Let's see here. We're close to the hour, but not quite at the hour. I don't see anything kind of, looks like we've pretty much answered all bits and pieces of all the questions, if not all. Yeah. Well, what do you think? Should we stay on or should we wrap her up?
I'm happy to stay on until 3. If we still have any questions coming in, we'll just stay here and wait for those to come in, and then we can wrap up here in a few minutes if no additional questions come in.
Great. Just going to read back through one more time. We did have a question come in about partners and paying for books and that sort of thing, but I think that really depends on, what classes you're enrolled in. I don't know if, is there an average? Do we communicate an average, or is it just vary so much depending on kind of where you are in your college journey?
Yeah, truthfully, I think an average would be unfair to throw out because uh, it is going to vary. There's going to be courses that require physical books. There's going to be courses that cover or require some electronic books, and the cost absolutely does vary. So I think it's a great question, and important to note that you're paying for those books out of pocket per session. So it helps to break apart that cost.
Well, here's a question about if you no longer work at Starbucks, does the program just automatically kind of get canceled? Or like, what's the transition look like? Do they have to cover the cost right away? In that kind of scenario.
Yeah, that's a great question. So courses are paid for direct pay from Starbucks up front. So any courses they're currently enrolled in and taking will be covered at the time they leave or part ways with Starbucks, and then any future courses would no longer be covered.
Great. Here's a question about sick vacation type of hours. Do those count towards the 20-hour audit? The answer is no, they do not count towards the audit. Your sick and vacation hours do not count negatively, I guess, towards that 20-hour audit, which is a good thing. Let's see, is there another new one? Oh, okay. Here's a question about once you get through the enrollment process, how soon can you expect to hear if you're accepted or not into ASU? Let's say you applied today. How quickly, I guess. It depends on a few different things. Go ahead, Katie.
It does depend on a few different things, Ben. How quickly we receive your transcripts. Once all of your transcripts are on file, your application will move into review. Admissions decisions can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So it is very dependent on each individual student and their academic record. But that's kind of the time frame we look at for admissions decisions post receiving transcripts.
It's pretty good though. Okay, I don't see any open questions. We'll hang out for a few more minutes and see if anything else comes up. And I'll scroll back through. We had 61 asked during this, so that's really good. And I tried to get as many of them verbalized as we could here. I'll just make sure I didn't miss anything important.
And I think our time is coming to an end, Ben. So I think we're probably going to start wrapping up questions and make sure that all of your questions in the Q&A box are getting answered by our enrollment team. But I think it's probably time for Ben and I to say goodbye. But we really want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope that we were able to help you get started on your journey with ASU. We're really looking forward to working with you and helping you join the Sun Devil Nation as SCAP scholars. So thank you for spending time with us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie. Super helpful. Really appreciate you. And we've got the number there. If you need to have any other questions, feel free to call. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.